and only DNVR. 2 goes out to Zach Mace, Arcade, and the bar. 3 for Mr. B in that old trophy case. Number 4 still waiting for, well, bring on the chase. Out on the field at Mile High, Broncos win is our desire. Coupled with a break, brew and a friend, bleed orange and blue to the bitter end. Come and join us, DNVR. We are DNVR.
We are DNVR, and we are live from Studio A. The A stands for About Time Some Changes Are Made. But will they be made? That's what we're going to talk about here in just a second. But first, I want to give a shout out to our presenting sponsor, MSU Denver. MSU Denver Online is the best place to go if you're looking to get an online education. MSU Denver students work twice as many hours as students attending any other Colorado institution. So check them out, msudenver.edu/online to see all of the different programs, 750 total classes, 45 plus online and hybrid programs. MSU Denver is the place to get an online education.
My boys, what's up? We feeling a little better today? Worse today? I think there's a little bit of both in Broncos country. Probably worse, honestly. But, I mean, right now, leaves are literally falling off the trees. Change is literally in the air right now.
You know what? Before the show, Ryan said something that actually makes me feel a little bit better and weirdly optimistic. He said that Mercury was in retrograde, but that ends today.
I'm so glad everyone is on this.
The Broncos lost 3 games.
0-3 in retrograde.
Was in retrograde.
0-3 in retrograde.
Was it not in
3-0.
retrograde for the other teams?
Oh, well, those teams don't matter.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Mercury's only Broncos.
We're clinging to
Okay.
something here.
As someone said to me last night, they're like, what about the other 31 other teams? And I said, I don't know. I'd have to read their tarot cards.
Yeah, so anyway.
We're at that point in the season, huh?
We are at
need
that.
Also,
everything.
I had...
Caps and Nuggets both have people come and read tarot cards before the season.
I know. I mean, they're
It's true.
totally different things. Also, I had someone tweet at me like, you aren't taking Mercury in retrograde seriously enough. This is not a joke. And I was like, I feel like I'm taking it the most serious.
Yeah.
The late
I think
Georgia
it's a joke.
Frontier, who owned the Rams, would not write checks or sign checks while Mercury was in retrograde.
Yeah.
So how'd the players get paid, as you asked?
That's what I'm telling
I don't
someone
know.
the next time I owe them money. Henry bought the tickets for the Broncos game last night.
Yeah.
Henry, sorry, I can't pay you. I actually only sign checks when it's in retrograde, so you'll have to wait.
Oh, so you can pay him today.
No. Next time.
Next
Yeah.
time. Okay, you get the Mercury bye week.
Also, Henry, if you're listening, tell me how much I owe you. I've been trying to pay you all day.
Well, there you go. If he doesn't ask, then it's free.
I don't want that.
Oh, because you're.
That's my son.
Yeah.
I don't want to take money
wow.
from him.
Wow, you're so
Oh.
kind.
Yes.
You're so kind, and you're in a good mood since Mercury is now in retrograde. Whatever
No,
that
it's
means.
out of retrograde.
Out of
Get it
retrograde.
right, Zach.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we really wanted to talk about today is changes, because something's got to change. Now, Zach, you have been banging this drum for weeks now that nothing's going to happen this week, and despite some of our YouTube commenters not understanding that, I understand that.
And it would have happened.
It would be a disservice to whoever's staying around to make changes this week. I mean, any changes. You want to change the quarterback. That's not fair to Drew Lock. You want to change the coach. It's not fair to obvious replacement Tom McMahon.
Unless the season's over. Jeff Fisher got replaced on a short week.
Wow, and how'd that go for him? Do you know?
The Rams lost. But their season
Sure
was
they
over.
did.
Their season was over. They were like 4-9. At 3-3, when if you do make changes, they could still alter the outcome of the season. Then you don't do that. What I actually think is interesting, guys, is how we see in hockey, in baseball, in basketball, in soccer, we see teams make early season big changes, personnel-wise, coaching-wise, etc., but it's not something we ever see in football. Usually, with the exception of the Raiders this past week, a coaching change comes only when you're done.
Yeah, and I know this is different, but USC firing their head coach 2 games into the season, it's at that point it's like, what the heck were you doing going into a season with him? And it would almost be, I guess there's a little difference with the Broncos now though, because I guess right now it's only a 3-game losing streak. They're still 500. That's why I think it's just one more game and we could see something.
to me, it's just I completely agree with what you said about Clay Helton. So if someone's leash is that short, just fire them.
Right.
Like, if your birthday is coming up and you're saying like, my girlfriend doesn't nail this present, I'm gonna break up with her. Like, just break up with her.
Well, at that point though, don't you want the gift? And if it's bad, it's bad. But if it's good, you get a good parting gift.
One of my exes, we broke up like shortly after a holiday, and she asked for the present she gave me back. She wanted to go return it.
Wow. I can't imagine you gave it back.
Still use it to this day.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, once you give the gift, it's gone. That's it.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Exactly. It's given. It's done. The only thing you return is like an engagement ring.
Oh, but that,
I mean, what's the etiquette on that?
what's the link?
I'm now in this territory. I need to know.
I think just in
Hopefully I
general,
don't need to know.
symbolically, you always return the engagement ring.
Okay.
So, like, if the wedding doesn't happen,
Yes.
okay.
Oh, but if the wedding happens,
Once the wedding happens,
There's-
that's your
got it.
diamond.
That's it. That's it. That's done.
Sell it. Do with it what you
Well,
will.
at that point, everything is joint, right? It's
Right.
what's mine is
So
yours,
it's
what's
half.
yours is mine.
Yeah.
You can like
all
take
that.
the diamond, put it in a necklace or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's all done.
Or you take the
Earrings.
diamond out and you replace it with a fake diamond and give it back to him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you just hope they can't tell, although most people can.
You go to like the local pawn shop.
Yeah.
Right, have them do it.
Sorry.
There's TV shows
A
about
couple
it, right?
$100.
Yeah.
Think like it's worth 10,000. Nope, this is cubic zirconia.
The best we can do is 150.
Right. Well, sounds good.
All right.
All right.
Okay. So change is not going to happen this week. We're at peace with that.
I don't know if a lot of people are.
When I say we, I just mean the three of us.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is. It is what it
That's
is.
all.
So let me ask you guys this: if the Broncos lose on Thursday, I won't say win just quite yet until we know who's playing. What's the first change that happens? Do you think it's as drastic as the coach getting fired? I personally don't. Or is it a staff change first?
Yeah, let's go one step below the head coach. And I think Vic has said enough that leads me to believe that he would go for Pat Shurmur. And the reason for that is, guys, if it's Tom McMahon, unless the special teams blows this game, then maybe it's Tom McMahon. But that would kind of go back to the Clay Helton, right? Like, what's actually changed with Tom McMahon this year?
Teflon Tom isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere. And that's why I think the biggest move that he can make is Pat Shurmur. And he's not firing Ed Donatel. So, boom, there's the other there's the other two coordinators.
You could do the like
It's all on
buddy
him.
handshake thing with your friend at Donatel. Look,
Save my job.
it's a sinking ship. I gotta do something. Do you mind? You're tired. We're tired. Do you want to? You want to take the rest of the year off? Go be with your kids.
What if it happens without kind of an out-and-out firing? Because back in 2007, Mike Shanahan's next to last year, he took defensive play calling responsibilities from Jim Bates. Remember him?
Yep.
And gave them to Bob Slowick, who then became the defensive coordinator the next year. So, I mean, that's
Wait, what position was Bob?
Bob Slowick was coaching the secondary.
And so he took the play calling away from the defensive coordinator.
Gave it to the secondary.
What did the defensive coordinator do?
Bates? He hung around for the rest of the year.
What is the point of that?
Yeah.
The point of that is so it
That's
doesn't is basically not looking as bad. Like a
So he's doing some work to make the
yeah,
paycheck?
and also it's not a mid-season like a mid-season firing looks bad. Like Mike McCoy,
it's like a favor to.
yeah, Mike McCoy hasn't worked in the NFL.
He went back-to-back
Since-
seasons getting mid-season
Yeah, exactly.
fired.
Yeah.
Yeah, that second mid-season firing, that was it. So that's the only if they made a move, maybe. But I do think if you're gonna do that, it's probably best to do a clean break.
Here's my question.
The obvious choice is Mike Shula. So
Has it ever gotten to a point where a coach had to do this symbolic I'm making changes firing in mid-season and then the coach survived? Because all the ones
Right.
I can think is it was just a precursor to their eventual firing.
Vance Joseph survived for a year.
So
'Cause he made the
after
change
Mike
to-
McCoy.
Billy Musgrave.
But that, I mean, did he really survive, or was it just like a?
we know how close it came to
John
him
had a
being
good night of
replaced
sleep.
with him being out and Mike Shanahan being back in.
Maybe when John went to sleep that night, Mercury was in retrograde, but then he woke up and it wasn't, and Vance was saved.
Wouldn't that be something? You should look that up.
Yeah, we should go check the timeline on that.
I mean, I know you guys were covering the team. I'll never forget that day because the stuff about Vance Joseph being in peril, it broke that morning.
Yep.
And I was actually on the air on KOA on the early pregame show, talking, and you could have knocked me over with a feather if you told me that Vance Joseph was going to have the job at the end of the day.
Right, because again, these things
Right.
always
Yep.
are happen before someone gets fired.
Right.
It's the first step in the coach really realizing that he's done is when you start firing coordinators.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, I got to do this because the next one is me.
Right.
But I make this change and maybe it works out.
Yep.
Change the staff. And then, of course, you have someone like Mike Munchak who was not willing to change his staff in Tennessee. And then they said, okay, fine, well, then you're out.
And it's
Reminds you
also
of Gary Kubiak.
and it's also an acknowledgement that you screwed up, right?
Right.
When you start firing coordinators, because those are your hires.
And also, now I guess Tom McMahon wasn't his hire. Ed Donatel, certainly his hire. And Pat Shurmur, that was his hire. That's why the Rich Scangarello wasn't really held against Vic. And that's why when he was fired, it wasn't the biggest shock to us, even though we didn't necessarily agree with it. But it wasn't a shock because we knew how clear that was coming from John Elway, that he's going to be our offensive coordinator.
He wanted a specific style of offense that Rich Scangarello ran.
Yep.
And then, it kind of got foisted on Vic. Because remember,
Well,
the day Vic was hired,
It was
everything was
Cougs.
pointing toward Kubiak coming back as the OC.
Yes. How about that? Wow.
By the way, while we're on this sort of topic, I just want to put this one out right now. It's kind of like when we have to say, like, Peyton Manning's not going to be the coach. Vic Fangio will not be the defensive coordinator.
Oh, yes. Very important.
I get that one in my mentions a couple times a week. Bring in an offensive-minded head coach and make Vic the DC. No. Also, gonna be honest here, I don't even want him as the DC.
I was thinking about that and how Vic will probably be scooped up right away as a defensive coordinator. But if I were to go on a radio show for that city and talk about Vic, what good?
You
would
point
we
to
be
the
able
Bears.
Right, exactly. It wouldn't be about the time here. It would be he was given everything, and the defense significantly
Failed.
underperformed year after year. Now, last year, tons of injuries. This year, there's some injuries.
And the injuries
but-
are starting to pile up this year. I think that has to be acknowledged. But eventually, like, that just becomes an excuse.
Well, and so you look at the times they're healthy. The first couple of games of this year, well, it was against, really poor competition. But then you look at Vic's first year, the 4 games with Bradley Chubb and Von Miller, historically terrible start in terms of getting after the quarterback and sacks and turnovers.
And they were 0-4.
I mean, yeah, tough.
It's if you were in that city, you point to the last time he was a defensive coordinator.
Right, you go past head
and you
coach.
just say maybe he was in over his head as a head coach. And then you bring on one of us and we say, yes, he was definitely in over his head coach.
It'd probably be a team like
I never
Cleveland
said.
that would hire him. Interestingly enough, because
Joe Woods out?
Cleveland's
Oh my
defense is
gosh.
clearly struggling, right?
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say he was gonna get a head coach job.
No, I'm saying I'm saying if Cleveland's defense doesn't turn it around,
Yeah.
they might move on from Joe Woods, and it's a team that obviously has a lot of other pieces. Would it surprise you at all if Vic Fangio were available after the season and the Browns brought Fangio in? No, that's the kind of hire that make a lot of sense.
You think Joe Woods goes and coaches Vance defense wherever Vance is?
So Vance is back as a head coach because
He got the buzz. He got the Rappaport tweet.
Yep, he's getting the buzz.
Man, all the ex-Broncos down there. Jeff Rogers and Vance Joseph were basically the co-coaches yesterday. Rogers was special teams coordinator under John Fox, and Sean Kugler was helping with the offensive play calling, and he was the O-line coach back in 2018.
Yep. It's tough.
Absolutely wild.
To me, what does this say? All that matters is who the quarterback is. But unfortunately, when you're a defensive head coach and your defense also isn't good, you don't get to blame the quarterback.
Yeah. Exactly. Because your defense is now, guys, in the past 3 games, the losing streak, they're giving up 28 points per game. 28. Yeah, that's horrible. It's horrifying. And so, guys, my question to you is, do you think that Pat Shurmur would be fired on this Friday if the Broncos don't get the win? Do you think it could be all the way up to Vic, or do you think we need to look at the quarterback position?
To me, the answer to that, it's not, it shouldn't be Vic. Or maybe I shouldn't say shouldn't. It's very unlikely.
I agree.
Would it be Vic? especially because again you're one game under 500.
Yep.
And so that's just an easy defense. And to me, that all depends on, does George Paton see a candidate on the staff? Does he like Mike Munchak? I don't know what their relationship is going back. To be honest, Lloyd Cushenberry still doesn't look that great.
Yeah.
Garrett Bowles looks like he's regressed from last season. Dalton Reisner has not improved over the last 2 seasons. So as much as we love Munch, it hasn't been all, sunshine and rainbows from his post either.
Right.
So is there someone on the staff that George Paton says, hey, I got to get a look at this guy? Then maybe there's an in-season firing. If not, bar none, it won't happen. So to me, it probably is going to be Shermer, and he'll deserve it. And then, in my opinion, nothing's going to get any better. And at the end of this year, Fangio will go with them.
It'll be Fangio going with him, and they'll probably be moving on to another quarterback next year. A quarterback who's not on the roster right now.
Yep.
And the reason the reason why I agree with you guys about it not being Vic this time around is George Paton doesn't need to make a move to save his job. His job is totally safe, and if he gets fired, well, I'm sure he'll be semi-happy with the payout he's going to get, but he doesn't need to save his job, so there's no reason for him to make a huge move this year. Maybe if things go drastically wrong by the bye week or 3 or 4 weeks left, then he makes a move just to save a little bit of face. But the reason Vic would make a move and fire Pat Shurmur is to say, I have to get this thing turned around. Now we're 3-4 on a 4-game losing streak. I'm losing the locker room, and if I don't get this turned around, I'm going to lose, so I have to start doing drastic things. And that's why I think that if the offense struggles this week and they lose to a Browns team, which, guys, seems like they're going to be decimated going into this game, as well as being 1-2 in their past 3 games. They're not the hot team in the NFL either.
They're not stopping anybody right now.
Exactly.
On the defensive end, they're getting besieged. The problem is, of course, look at the quarterbacks that are dicing them up. It's it's Justin Herbert.
Right.
It's Kyler Murray. It's 2 legit MVP candidates. Teddy Bridgewater, across the board, average to lower mid-tier at this point.
And then so you look at who they've had success against. Well, they've had success against Washington. They've had success against another team where they held both of those teams to 7 points and 6 points. If the Broncos are in that category, you have to make a move to save your job. And why I think it would be the coach, why he'd go for Shurmur instead of, let's say, turning to Drew Lock is, well, I don't think Vic Fangio believes that Drew Lock gives him the best chance to win right now. And even if Teddy struggles again on Thursday night, he's going to say, boy, Teddy doesn't look good, but he's still better than Drew. And so even with fans wanting to see something different, and I totally understand why fans want to see something different, Vic Fangio just does not believe that gives him the best shot.
Well, he said 2 things in the last 24 hours that basically said he doesn't believe Teddy's the problem. Number one, when he was asked about the turnovers, he's pointing to game yesterday after the game. And then today, what was the quote that he said about?
He said I believe in Teddy's ability to lead the offense.
There you go.
Yeah.
Teddy's his guy.
Yep.
And finally, there's no Alexander Johnson, Mike Purcell button to press. Remember, of course, after they go 0-4, they bring in Mike Purcell and Alexander Johnson, and that changes the defense. I don't think that button is out there. The one thing that could change sometime soon that could make a big impact, but it'll unfortunately be too late, is Jerry Jeudy coming back into the lineup.
Yeah.
And today, although, Ryan, you'll like what Vic said today, Vic said it's less than a 50% chance that Jeudy plays today.
If it's less than 50, it's 0.
It should be. They should not rush this at all.
We are going to do a lot of questions today, but we do have some super chats here that I want to get to right now. So let's hit these real quick. For Max Power, we're getting super chats in euros, boys.
Ooh.
Why not wide receiver coach Zach Azani for OC?
That's a pound, isn't it?
Oh, is that a pound?
That's an English pound.
It's not a dollar. You knew that.
Definitely not a dollar.
So is that worth more than it's worth more than $2?
It looks like an
Yes,
E.
but I don't think-
an E?
Kind of but an E. But the E isn't it like the E is an actual E with a couple of dashes in it.
You're right. Of course you are. But
Well, if there's one thing I know, it's English currency.
That's true.
Abbreviations, right? Why not Azani? I think he would be possible if they made a move, but it would be just 5 games at the end of the year.
Can I ask
All right,
a better?
kids, see what you got.
What I believe is a better question.
What?
Why Azani? Why would it be him?
That's a very good question.
Because he's regarded well around the league, and he's kind of considered a hot young assistant.
But has he ever been an offensive coordinator anywhere?
I think he was a co-offensive coordinator, but not with play calling responsibilities at one of his college stops.
That's a really hard thing to put on someone in the middle of a season, in my opinion.
That's exactly why I was going to say why not Zach Azzani is because you're only doing that if, let's say, you make him head coach after firing Vic mid-season, and then you give him play calling responsibilities. You may do that because that may be the one
that is too
George,
much to ask.
Oh, it is, but that may be the one that George Payton says, this guy could be my offensive coordinator of the future or head coach of the future. Let's see. But if Vic Fangio is firing Pat Shurmur, he is not then hiring an inexperienced guy who has no experience doing that. He's not doing that. That's about the riskiest thing Vic could do, and he wants the safe route. That's why it would be Mike Shula.
Yes,
it will
exactly.
be Mike.
Which Mike Shula.
Could very well just be more of the same.
Yeah. I mean, those two kind of came in as a package deal.
Yep, exactly.
The one thing we know about Mike Shula, now he probably
It's like
can't
firing
do that
Vic
here.
Fangio and making Ed Donatel
right.
defensive coordinator.
I wish Mike Shula had at least something different stylistically in the quarterback room, because Mike Shula did a lot of really interesting things with Cam Newton.
That's
back
funny
in
you
the day.
say Cam Newton. He's available. You can make Mike Shula the OC and bring Cam in.
But your problem is you're getting 2021
Cam will say
Cam
no.
Newton, not 2015 Cam
Cam
Newton.
will say no. He's not coming to a team with a losing record.
Cam, and he's just taking too much of a beating. That
Yeah.
guy. He was
He wants
spectacular.
in.
And
He
I know
wants back in.
he was spectacular several years ago, but he's just too beat up at this point.
I'm not going to put a jinx on any team, but if a team that is contending right now lost their starting quarterback and didn't like their backup and thought that he was a fit for their offense, that's where he would go.
Say the team you're thinking of.
I'm not
Just
going to say
throw
it.
the
I
jinx
will
on
not
it.
say it. I'm not saying that team.
Is it
It's
in a
not,
hot weather?
We're not talking about it. Next super chat from Sean. Can Vic be fired already? I don't see us beating an injured Browns team. I'm tired of seeing Vic's confused, constipated-looking face on the sidelines. The confused man. Nothing gets fans more mad than the coach looking confused.
Yeah, Vance Joseph. I mean, he looked confused, and fans did not like it. That may be the thing in the hiring process.
Yeah.
Is you tell the coach, okay, 3rd and 12.
Can you look like really just focused and dialed in at all times?
Oh, confused. Get out of here.
I mean, how is it that it's just a look, and I don't want to put too much on a look, but how is it that Rich Bisaccia looks more
I was telling you, he was
composed?
looking at Rich Bisaccia yesterday.
Well, I was curious because the Raiders are a potential playoff team if Bisaccia can be a halfway decent head coach.
Yep.
He looked the part yesterday.
He looked the part.
Did
He
not-
sounded well versed in his press conference afterwards.
And you didn't see any chaos on the sideline either. You know, sometimes with the Broncos over the years, we've seen things look a little. There have been some disorganization at times.
It literally
Going back
happened
to Vance
yesterday.
Joseph. Yes.
With Noah Fant, when he was complaining about not getting his foot in bounds, he was on the field along with like
I saw
6 of his
Justin
teammates.
throwing it at his hands up.
We're on the field. They would have got a flag if they didn't throw the challenge flag.
None of that from the Raiders.
By the way,
Yeah.
I have a conspiracy.
Ooh.
Did you notice how late Vic threw the challenge flag on the Ruggs play?
Didn't they almost snap the ball or something?
They actually had. I think if they reviewed it, they would have determined that the ball had already been snapped. I don't know if that's something that they review.
Yeah, they didn't. They didn't have a replay quickly enough
Right.
on the broadcast, and it was basically okay. We have to take a shot, even though we don't know if there's a replay helping us. It's such a high leverage play. Like that challenge is actually more defensible than the Noah Fant challenge.
See, okay,
because you could see initially that the foot was on the line.
You're derailing my conspiracy.
Sorry.
My conspiracy is I thought Vic purposely threw it like a little bit late so he could then later, like, I thought they were going to let the play run, and then he could later be like, I tried to challenge it, but they didn't stop the play. Because he wasn't confident in, of course he wasn't confident because there was nothing to challenge.
Yeah.
He was waiting for somebody upstairs to say, okay, this is the angle, challenge it. And
But
it never
there's
came
no-
on the
okay,
broadcast.
okay.
So I know what you're getting at, but there's a logical explanation that probably usurps
Wait.
the
If you
conspiracy
don't have any
theory.
information that says you should challenge it, don't challenge it.
Wait, there's not a replay booth that teams have access to that's different than
They're watching up in
there's
the
got to be something different.
when whoever's in charge of it is usually up in the coach's booth. Those monitors, they are on the game broadcast, or they're
watching
on
the game, couple
or they're
beers.
on the
Wow.
stadium video broadcast. There isn't a special feed for the coaches in the booth.
Well,
It is not.
then the stadium has to be better too with getting those
Yes,
up when it's the home
exactly.
team. And on top of that, Ryan, you'll get a kick out of this. Mace and I were freaking out about it yesterday during that Noah Fant touchdown. When they were reviewing it on the big board, they had a little thing on like the
little
bottom
bug,
that
little
said
bug.
like Broncos challenge or something, and it was covering Noah's foot the whole time.
Oh,
So you
no, I
couldn't
was at the
see.
game.
Oh
I
yeah,
saw
you were at the
this.
game, of course.
Yes.
And we're just like, what? Get that thing off. What are you
I was screaming the same thing, and actually, Henry's girlfriend was saying the same thing. She's like, "You can't see it because of that stupid graphic."
And that's it. You should do that when the Raiders are challenging. How funny would that be? You just have a graphic like right where it should be.
It should say censored.
Right.
Yes.
That would be so
Oh
funny.
my gosh.
They put like the blurry like middle finger thing on the.
Yeah.
So if you guys were angry and Zach and I were flustered, I mean, probably what? 5,000 or 10,000 people in the stadium
Oh,
probably
yeah.
had the same reaction at least watching that.
Unbelievable. All right, next super chat. Again from Sean. Biggest L this weekend was having Kyle Shanahan here at Mile High, but not as the coach, but here for his father. Kyle would have turned this team around. God, I wish I could get on board with this. I really like Kyle Shanahan. I think he's a cool dude, and I love the way he calls plays. But there's so little evidence to say that he's a good head coach.
There really is. Yeah. I mean, he has a losing record still. He's had one great season when they came up short in the Super Bowl, so technically that doesn't buy him the 5 extra years because he didn't get that. And he's had good quarterback play. I mean, now he's had injuries, but he's been given resources at the quarterback position.
He has now. That being said, his thing of always elevating the quarterback one level above their natural level is probably accurate. I think Jimmy G is a lower mid-tier to mid-tier quarterback that's played one level up for a lot of the time under Kyle Shanahan. Nick Mullins is a fringe guy who shouldn't be in the NFL, who is serviceable for Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
some of that, the quarterback play is because Kyle, as a teacher of the position, is exceptional.
he also, I mean, but they also, got Nick Bosa, and he went crazy that season.
Yeah.
And again, you can't take that stuff away from them. I would just, I think that Kyle would have done better than the two guys that they've gotten. But I just can't say, he would have been the savior because he hasn't been the savior in San Francisco.
Would you have been okay with Kirk Cousins being your quarterback? Because
It's probably better than anything they've had.
probably
Broncos would
he
be
would have
winning.
been
Yeah.
he probably would have been your quarterback by 2018 if Kyle Shanahan is the hire in 2017.
I just don't love that combination. That doesn't get
Yeah.
me excited.
Yeah.
It would be better than what they've had.
It would be what Derek Carr light in terms of the success you could hope for and the type of player you have. I would rather have Derek Carr than Kirk Cousins.
I still can't believe Derek Carr just dunked on the Broncos yesterday.
341
The
yards.
Broncos could not stop the run in the second half once Alexander Johnson went out, and Derek Carr was like, "Yeah, we could run the ball, but that's not as fun." I just like throwing it up and watching my receivers
Greg Olsen
embarrass you
flipped
guys.
their script.
Yeah.
They went from run to sep the pass to pass to sep the run.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And lo and behold, it opened up their offense. I mean, if now people are going to plan for that, but if Greg Olsen is nimble enough to kind of throw curveballs and say, okay, we're going to try to run first, and then we're going to use that sep the pass, they'll continue to have the kind of success they had yesterday.
All right, a big super chat here from DTL. We appreciate this one.
Nice.
Hey guys, so the first year it was we were too safe. The second year it was we were too reckless. What's it going to be this time? Just man up and accept responsibility. Are we talking about Vic?
I'm not sure, but today when Vic talked, and it's really pissing a lot of fans off. He's really putting this on players first and then coaches.
What a terrible look.
In multiple answers when talking about why things were breaking down, he pointed to players we're putting them in the right spot and they're just not executing. They're getting there late. And then he did after that. He said, so that's, players need to execute better, but if they're still not able to execute, that eventually does fall back on the coaches. So he is taking some responsibility, but in multiple answers today, Mace, correct me if I took it wrong, but I took it as, we're putting the players in the positions that we think are right. They're not doing it, and because they're not doing it, now we need to change
He mentioned
things.
that with the secondary on the first touchdown that they gave up to Ruggs. And I mean,
He's right. He's actually right.
He's right,
but he shouldn't say it.
Right,
At
right.
least yesterday he was.
Joe Gibbs.
That's how you lose the locker room.
Exactly. Joe Gibbs always had the philosophy that you praise in public, In private, that's where you make the corrective teaching.
Didn't Teddy
but
Bridgewater
you never
say-
do that in public?
Literally yesterday, Teddy said, "When we lose, it's my fault. When we win, it's my teammates' fault."
Yep,
That's why Teddy would
exactly.
probably be a very good coach in this league.
I would
because
love.
he absolutely gets that whole
How does
thought.
the coach get that? How does the quarterback get that, and the coach doesn't? When the coach has been in football for 50 years.
Oh, because that sign isn't in his office, Ryan. The sign that's in his office is "Worry later, work now."
Close enough. I just
He needs a Ted Lasso sign.
So
I want
yesterday,
believe in there.
to me, yesterday was the first one I really point to the players, and again, I wish I could have the view I had. I basically just had the all 22 view the whole game. It was amazing. And the players were in the right position, and they didn't make the plays. I haven't felt that way in other games as much as I felt like Ronald Darby, Justin Simmons, Bryce Callahan. Someone just make a play. I forget who it was. I think it was Malik Reed who should have had a sack, and then somehow Derek Carr ends up throwing sidearm and almost connecting with Hunter Renfrow. It's like someone just. What are you guys doing? Just finish a play one of these times.
It really looks like the players, the way they've played these past couple of games, especially yesterday, like they're one of the 5 least paid defenses in the NFL, not the highest.
And I just felt like the Raiders, like this is like a cliche, but I just felt like they wanted it more yesterday.
They did. I mean, I think kind of it's one play, but kind of it symbolizes everything. Was on the deep ball to Cortland Sutton, he kind of pulls up on the route. And then it gets picked off, and he just kind of does a side swiping, just steps to the sideline. He wants no part of it. I know
that's how he got hurt last year.
I get the human nature part of it, but here's the thing. If that's how you're feeling, why are you out there?
No, but I just think he's like, no way am I getting hurt again chasing down someone on the interception.
But that's how. But it's now that's death by inches, because if you have guys kind of taking a bit off of their effort, I mean, could you? I think back to myself. All right, what if a receiver had done that and Rod Smith were in that receiver room?
Yeah,
that guy would lose his hearing in one ear because Rod would chew him out so loudly.
The film is way worse than I even remembered it.
Yeah.
I mean, not only does Cortland not attempt to make the play, he just leaves the field.
Yep.
He just goes off to the sideline. And again,
and the effort from the rest of the guys on that play wasn't great either.
I told the story on the show yesterday. Allie literally said, in like the funniest voice, she just goes, "Are they gonna tackle him?" Because he's just like jogging up the sidelines. No one's really putting up much of an effort. I couldn't believe what I was watching, but
I was shocked. I was like, "What is happening? Show some effort. Show something." You're like, you can't in football. You can't. Like, no.
But
That was
Cortland,
embarrassing.
Cortland, I understand it. I just wish he was a better actor. Just act like you're trying. I don't need you to go hurt yourself again.
The film session's going to be bad for him tomorrow.
I mean, I've never seen anything like it. Just walked off the field.
And that's a captain. I mean, I'll admit that kind of, on a visceral level, I'm like, it's one of your captains.
Right.
What's going on?
We got a million questions to get to today. We still haven't finished super chat, so let's get these two. From Ian B, narrative that the O-line let Teddy down is a cop-out. Even with clean pockets, he underthrew, completely missed, or just held on too long, no urgency. It's a combination.
I mean, Teddy absolutely has tons of blame yesterday. The offensive line has tons of blame, not just for yesterday. They have been bad this entire season. And guys, 17 hits, that's on the offensive line. That's on Teddy. That's on the right. That's on everyone. That is awful.
It's on everybody, and I would say it also includes the receivers, because some of it is Teddy, as he said yesterday, he's trying to give guys time to get open, and they're not getting enough separation.
I just remember I told you yesterday I had 3 main takeaways from what I saw from my seats. I just remembered what the third one was.
Good timing.
There was a moderate wind. I would call it it was light. It was a light to moderate wind, and I thought it was affecting Teddy's deep balls. And that, to me, is the first time we're kind of seeing the arm strength for Teddy pop up a little bit, because, wind obviously affects the game. But on the one that he overthrew to Cortland, felt like there was a little wind at the back. And the one that he severely underthrew to Tim Patrick, there was a little bit of wind in their face. And that was maybe like 10 miles per hour. I don't know.
What do you think? When I asked Vic about if Teddy could do more on the deep balls today. And he said, well, it's both guys. Like a couple of inches, it's both guys.
Right.
Like the receiver and Teddy.
There's just no doubt.
But Teddy did not have enough hot sauce on the ball.
He didn't.
Right.
And
He didn't.
even
Well,
the one
he
that
did on
Cortland
Cortland.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it should have been a walk-in touchdown.
Yeah.
Right, a little too much. And then even the one that hit Cortland in the hands and Cortland dropped was way short.
Yeah.
Teddy didn't get it there.
Why am I missing that one?
It was
What
late.
happened?
He
It
turned
was
back.
late in the game.
Yeah, he had to come back and get it. But there was a defender right there, like that got.
It
There was
it,
a one
Oh,
play.
and he like went up to get it, and then
Yeah.
it got knocked out.
it literally hit his hand, went through his hands, hit his chest. I mean,
Okay, I don't remember.
to me, it was a big time
I don't know
drop.
why I don't know why I don't remember the play. All right, last super chat here.
So this is a common theme in the comments is feeling like Teddy isn't getting the same blame as Drew Lock. He's getting excuses after excuses, and a lot of people in the comments are frustrated. This is one of the super chats.
So collection connection. TB gets excuse after excuse. Locke gets slammed in his first year, and TB coddled in his 7th. Coaching's biggest mistake is starting TB. Hashtag Drew Lock is better.
Did we forget the past 2 weeks ago?
I just don't understand what we're basing that off of. Drew Lock for me all along was if you go with Drew Lock, you're hoping that his development allows him to eventually be better than Teddy. He wasn't better than Teddy now, and I don't think that there's that many. Like, I guess here's what I will say: if Drew Lock was the starting quarterback yesterday, and there were 4 turnovers and the Broncos lost, he would be taking a lot more of a beating today than Teddy Bridgewater is. But I think a lot of people have just moved on, and they're ready to get rid of the coaching staff. So it's like, forget Drew, forget Teddy. It's on Vic and Pat Shurmur. Let's get rid of them.
Well, the other thing also, the pressure that's on the quarterbacks right now, the thing that concerns me and why I don't think this would be any better with Drew Lock is last year Drew Lock had a 26.2 rating when pressured. And the one thing we saw this summer in camp, the joint practices with the Vikings, is that he still struggles when he's pressured. When he's got a clean pocket, great. But you're not operating with a clean pocket very often right now with the protection that you're getting up front. So I really don't think this would be any better with Drew Lock. Now, that being said, if this thing continues to spiral, you have to play Drew Lock.
Oh yeah, you should.
You have to, just to say, okay, let's give him a few weeks and see let's see what the kid has.
But that won't come until either Vic is fired
Yeah.
or the season is way out of control. And it's not going to happen this week or even next week if the Broncos are 3-4. Vic Fangio's not going to make that move. And so to answer the question, collective or collection connection is Teddy's also built up a lot of goodwill with his play. Going into yesterday, he had 7 touchdowns and 1 interception. That you will take. That will
You'll
survive.
take 10-4, which is what it is now.
Exactly.
He's on pace for 28-11.
Exactly. So was yesterday a terrible game for him? Absolutely, it was. But we knew that they were never going to have a 1-game leash for Teddy Bridgewater.
And when I talk about the wind, I'm saying that as a knock on Teddy, not as an excuse for him. I'm
Right,
saying
right.
he can't drive the ball well enough to get it through that.
And Peyton
Yeah.
Manning couldn't either at times.
Yeah.
That's the thing. When I think it was Dan Fouts that explained it best, that when you throw a little bit of a flutter ball, and Dan Fouts, Hall of Famer, threw a flutter ball, right? And you have a cold day or just a windy day, and it's going to kind of turn over. But if you throw tight spirals, and Drew does throw tighter spirals with more velocity on it, it's going to cut through the breeze.
Right. And
What's the weather going to be in Cleveland on Thursday? I think we should check that. It's right there on the shore of Lake Erie where things can get a little bit nasty.
Oh, that's rough. And when you look that up, Mace, here's another thing about this. It's the defense that's really let them down the past 3 games. And this team was built on elite defense and average quarterback play to get the offense average. Right now, Teddy's throwing 70% completion. He's throwing for 252 yards per game, 101 passer rating, and a 52 QBR. Guys, that's about as average in a good way as you can get. So collectively, Teddy is doing his job, and yesterday was terrible.
Yes.
16 miles an hour, and there's rain in the forecast until about 5 o'clock Eastern time on Thursday. But that's looking at it now. Often those, that window can change, but it's all day on Thursday. It's looking like a pretty windy day, 12 to 17 miles an hour of wind. in Cleveland.
Better get Javonte rolling.
Case Keenum doesn't have a very strong arm either. If you're going to be
He's
playing
not
him,
playing.
and maybe Baker is. I know the injuries to his left arm, but maybe that'll just make his right arm a little weaker.
Maybe.
Well, he doesn't have to worry about getting hit, so he can play.
It's true. It's true.
Baker's going out there unless the arm is falling out of the socket.
Yeah.
Here's a tweet yesterday from Vic Tarfer, the Las Vegas Raiders beat guy.
Tafer, I believe.
Tafer?
from The
Okay.
Athletic, yeah.
He said he's picked the Raiders yesterday because the Broncos' pass rush and secondary are overrated, and Carr is a lot better than Bridgewater. And that's just the honest
those were
truth.
true.
Right across the board.
And it hurts, and maybe the one that hurts the most isn't that Carr is better than Bridgewater. I mean, that's not a shock
We
to
knew that
anyone,
one,
but
yeah.
the Broncos' pass rush and secondary are overrated.
Mm-hmm.
And it has been. Outside of them playing rookie quarterbacks, they've been shredded.
And that to me is going to be the biggest nail in Vic Fangio's coffin. Not only did you get to sign one of your favorite players from the last time you had a successful or an elite defense, but you also drafted another guy on top of it. So you just got investment on investment. You brought back Kareem Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was like a dream scenario for you.
Yeah.
And not only are you not intimidating teams, you're losing the games.
Yep.
On that side of the ball.
Yep. As
Not all of
disappointing as it
them,
gets.
but you can definitely place yesterday on the defense. They lost the game yesterday.
Yep. I agree.
All right, let's get to a bunch more questions here in a second. But first, want to tell you about our friends over at Breckenridge Brewery. I think everyone could go for a beer. It's just one
That
of those
is for
days.
sure.
Everyone crack open a beer. We'll all relax a little bit. And Breckenridge is the best place to get them. Like I said yesterday, I was enjoying some Breck lagers yesterday.
Yes.
And it's such an underrated part of the Breck family. There's so many different great beers from them, and I can't recommend them enough. So you can come down to the DNVR bar. We've got 8 of them on tap here, or you can go to your local liquor store or check out the Breck Brew locator to find where the nearest Breck Brews are to you.
Yes, and if you want a job, you got to check out our friends over at Ball. I'm talking about the aerospace engineering company. I'm talking about the company that made over 101 billion sustainable aluminum cans last year, and I'm talking about the company that's name is on the stadium of where the Nuggets and Avs play. I'm talking about that Ball, and that Ball wants to hire you. They're adding to their 400-person plant here in town at Golden to continue to do things the right way, because that's what they do over at Ball. And one of the things they do right is they treat their employees right. So make sure, if you want a good job, check them out. Go to jobs.ball.com and search for Golden, or you can text Golden, Golden, to 77222 to get even more information about this. So check them out at jobs.ball.com and search for Golden there. All right, Ryan, we got to get to our DraftKings pick of the week right now. What do you have for me?
Josh Allen, longest completion over 38.5 yards. This has been one of my new favorite bets that I've been leaning into. Take these teams who love to push the ball down the field and take the over on this. Josh Allen, man, he's always looking down the field. Like, they're getting vertical on seemingly every passing play. And he absolutely can put it on those receivers down the field. So over 38.5 for him tonight on his longest completion.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I want to go with this game as well. I'm smelling a little bit of an upset with this game. The Bills, I probably shouldn't do this because they're so good right now. Coming off a huge road win. They're ready for get big-time games. I think the Titans cover. Minus 6.5. I'm going Titans to stay close and keep the game within 6. I don't like a money line at plus 200. I think the Bills win, but I think it's a fun one. I think we're in for a really good game tonight.
Yep. Oh. No, it's fine.
It's my usual bet. Walker Buehler, Dodgers, Game 3, Tuesday night. Strikeouts, take the over.
Boom.
All right.
There you go.
Hopefully another walk-off for the Braves.
Yes, seriously.
I don't know if they have any more mojo left, but we'll see.
We
By
can
the
only
way,
hope.
I wore Brave stuff when I was running some errands on Saturday, and literally dozens of people came would say, "Hey, good luck tonight." I didn't realize how much people hate the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Oh, everyone
With
hates
the
the
fire of
Dodgers.
1,000 suns.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, down with the Dodgers.
I'll talk to you later this week. I'm off.
See you, Mace.
Later, Mace. So you got. I think it's possible.
I thought you were going to roast me for that.
No, the best picks in the NFL are the ones that make you uncomfortable.
I like that.
But
I'm
not like
uncomfortable.
money line upsets where
Right,
you're just
right.
it's like if you look at a bet that's like, the spread and you say that seems way off.
Right.
It's probably the right side. Just like the last Thursday night game.
I think last week, right before the Bills beat the Chiefs, they were a 3.5 point favorite in this game on the early line on DraftKings, and I thought that's probably where it should be. Now that it's 6, a little too much.
Yeah. The comments are so interesting to me right now, acting like Teddy is like immune to criticism. I really don't think it's that at all. I think we've criticized him a lot over the last 2 games. But the problem is when you're comparing it to Drew, whose stats were worse last year.
Yeah.
By a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
You're right on that.
I also want it to be known, like I know there's a lot of people who might be watching for the first time, but when this was a QB competition, some people are saying you guys just hate Drew and that it's all against Drew and that you guys just don't like
not.
him. If you go back to episodes during training camp, like there's
all of
very
us said the
fair
best thing for the Broncos is
conversation.
Drew to win the competition.
Without a doubt.
Exactly. So like you might be watching for the first time, so maybe that's why you have these takes, but these guys do a podcast 5 days a week, so they talk a lot about different things in depth. So something you might not hear today might be talked about more tomorrow or last week or the week before because it's 5 days a week all year round. So
Totally.
just something to keep in mind for people who may be new to watching this.
All right.
Exactly. And really quick, check out DraftKings Sportsbook, Ryan, and get in. Man, I like your bet a lot more than mine. I'm going to lock that in tonight. 39.5. He is
38.5.
38.5. He is hitting that. And if you place a $5 bet over at DraftKings Sportsbook now on any NFL team to win their game, and they do, you get $200 in free bets, which you can use right away. These free bets are awesome. Split up into $25 increments. You can have it over 8 games. Makes it so much fun. You could use those for tonight's game. You could use it for Thursday night's Broncos game. And, of course, this weekend, so much football, college, and pro as well. So make sure to check out DraftKings now. And new customers, or all customers, can get same-game parlays, which makes tonight's game so much fun because you turn it into a parlay. Heck, we could each do our own pick of the week in a parlay. We'll see how much you like mine to see if you actually do that.
Unfortunately, the longest completion ones aren't available on the SGPs.
Oh, okay. Because it's so money.
Yes.
They know that the over is where it's at. So head to the App Store now, download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now, and use the promo code DNVR when you sign up to get this offer of placing $5 to win $200 in free bets. And you win if you use that code DNVR. And DraftKings is, of course, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
All right, Zach, let's get into the comments.
Real quick, we just got one quick super chat here.
Oh, 2 super chats.
Oh, super chats.
Fox can't keep up with them.
All right, from JMEB, will Fangio last past this season? I say no. I thought it came down to that game yesterday, at least the hope of it continuing. Not only did they lose, they got embarrassed. To me, it's over.
Something drastic would have to happen
Yes.
for him to be back.
All right, and then from my guy, BVD, tough week for Broncos country, but at least we have each other. Love the folks at DNVR. That's the type of positivity.
Yes, we love it.
Oh gosh,
Another one.
We're gonna get stuck in the cycle. We'll never get out of this.
Ian B, who was talking in the comments earlier, just said we love you guys in the pod. We just don't get to yell at mom and dad, Vic and Shermer, so we take it out on our big brother.
Fair enough.
I'm okay with being the big brother.
Appreciate the love, Ian. All right,
Thank you,
and then
Ian.
another super chat. I wouldn't normally do this, but stop giving us money after this one. 2020 defensive line. 2020 Drew Lock beats Teddy Bridgewater's 4 TDs to 0. Same records. Drew Lock is first year. Drew Lock already beat Teddy Bridgewater's season TD record. A first-year starter against a vet. # Drew Lock is better. That's your opinion. I'm not sure exactly what's...
Drew had the one game. There's no doubt about that. And you can go back and find a lot of players that beat Tom Brady and had better games than them. Doesn't mean they're a better player than Tom Brady or Peyton Manning if you want to do that. But the one thing, connection is, Drew Lock did beat Teddy's touchdown record for the most in a season than he's had last year. Teddy's on pace to destroy both of them this year.
Right, and he will have the record out of the two of them.
Exactly.
I mean, Drew's going to probably get a chance this year. So
he will.
We'll
but my question to you guys is, and leave it in the comment section, but you don't have to hit it with the super chat. Do you think Drew Lock still has a chance to be the future of this team? Or do you just want something different? Because I understand wanting something different when you're losing, but are you advocating for Drew because you really think he's still the guy? He just lost the quarterback competition to this guy that you want benched right now. So, I mean, what does that say? Ryan, it's pretty clear that they need to go a different direction than what they have right now next year.
Right, exactly. It's neither is the answer.
Yeah.
All right. I got to get to this one first from our comments because I gave a promise to this person that I would read it. Pinky promise all the way across the world to Sweden. Our guy Timmy from Sweden says, talking about the Madden League, says, "Hey guys, we have 2 spots that need to be filled in the DNVR Madden League for Madden 22 on the next gen Xbox." So he says, here's a read for y'all.
Oh, I love it.
Do you think the Broncos coaching staff is terrible? Do you think you could do a better job? If the answer is yes, then why not coach your own team in the DNVR Madden League? Help the rest of the league by defeating RK, especially Brian, or help Zach by losing against him. The destiny is in your hands. We have 2 spots available at the moment. Join now by emailing timmyfromsweden@gmail.com. That's timmyfromsweden@gmail.com. He says, must be 18 or older, Broncos fans only, new members only. Restrictions may apply. Madden problems, call 1-800-FIRE-SHERMER. Thanks, guys. Timmy from Sweden.
He's not kidding about the restrictions may apply.
Yes, also, and the age limit.
Yes.
Because one fun thing about the Madden League is you also get to join the Madden League chat. And the Madden League chat is an absolute hoot.
It is so much fun.
Great Broncos content and conversations going on in there.
I'm surprised we got 2 spots open.
Well, we had a wait list. And he emailed the wait list, and no one's getting back to him. So now they're losing their spot.
Now we have reads here. And, guys, do we know the draft date yet? Is it this week?
It's October 30th.
Okay, so 2 weeks from now, I can't wait from that. That first draft is always a blast. I mean, they're always fun, but this one is like, it's high stakes.
Yeah, you're setting the bar for your team for the whole year.
October 30th is a busy day. We've got Buffs, Rams, Nuggets, and Avs, and now your NFL draft.
Holy smokes.
Thankfully, it starts at 8 a.m., so I'll be able to draft a few rounds before I have to leave.
Exactly, and then Broncos play Halloween the next day.
Oh, wow.
Taylor Heineke. Hopefully that's not my starting quarterback in Madden. That'd be bad.
That would be bad. All right. Next one's from Denver's new owner. As owner of the team, my first order of business is replacing most of the coaching staff. Ted Lasso and his guys will be here Monday after the Browns game. At this point, Ted's got to be better than Vic. Can we start talking about what Coach Aaron will want with him in Denver next season? Too soon.
Too soon?
Is it too soon to talk about what Coach Aaron Rodgers wants for the Broncos?
Yeah, it is. It is. But who would it be? I mean, I honestly think he just wants a coach that's going to get out of his way. Wasn't that kind of an issue with McCarthy? Was he was doing the opposite and getting in his way, and he didn't like that? And what's LaFleur doing? LaFleur's pretty much getting out of his way, and now LaFleur, isn't he like the youngest coach ever to 50 wins or something?
Yeah.
And now so LaFleur, I think everyone knows why he has a good record, but still, in 50 years, he'll still have that record, or, be up there with the successful coaches.
It's absolutely true. Aaron Rodgers, I'm trying to think, who was that guy that got cut, that wide receiver that got cut by the Packers? Hire him as the coach.
Yeah, it's like bringing in Jordan Taylor for Peyton Manning.
Yes, exactly. Count me in.
Actually, who I'd love is Kellen Moore, because then you have a weird thing, but a young coach learn under an experienced quarterback.
Well, yeah, and he gets time, right?
Yeah.
All that, having a quarterback just gives you time and time and time to figure out what you need to do.
Yep. So I'd actually love going with an experienced quarterback and a young head coach.
By the way, if there was a way that you see, the problem is you have to hire the coach before you could get the quarterback. So you really have to convince Kellen Moore that you're getting Aaron Rodgers. Otherwise, I don't think he's taking the job.
Yeah, I think you're right. Next one from Melbourne Bronco. Hi, guys. I'm over it. I'm over after game press conferences with the same quotes over and over. It's on me. And we've got to be better. Save it. Your words mean nothing. Forget Aaron Rodgers even coming here. I guess it is too early, Ryan. This offensive line will force him out of the game midseason. Sack after sack after sack. This franchise is doomed until the Bolin family sells and moves on, and a new owner is needed that will clean house from top to bottom and erase the losing culture. It's over.
One thing that was this not reported on heavily enough that the team is getting sold at the end of the season, or at least there is a conclusion to the ownership saga at the end of the season, which we all assume to be the team selling.
Yep. Yep.
I feel like I saw a lot of people yesterday saying like sell the team. It's like,
Oh, like people not realizing
Yeah,
when it's
like-
gonna. Yeah. I guess not.
the other one that I keep seeing is fire Elway. I'm like, what are you firing him from?
He just fired himself.
Yes.
Essentially. And
Yes.
still gets a paycheck.
And then the other thing, when you have Aaron Rodgers, the offensive line doesn't really matter that much.
Exactly, just like Peyton Manning.
Yes.
Who is his starting offensive line in Super Bowl 48? Now I know it didn't go well, or you could even look to Super Bowl 50. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
that's a much better one.
and it doesn't matter if you have the quarterback. Your offensive line's fine.
Yep. From Broncology, this team is so bad, even I deserve to get fired.
Wow, you're fired, Broncology.
Hopefully we don't get fired. Zach.
Exactly, I know. Omaha says, we actually had someone in the YouTube comment section saying the media needs to take blame for what's going on.
Oh.
I wish I could, because then that would mean I would be having like says in the decisions, which would be cool.
Right. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't have that.
Trying to think like what we could take responsibility for.
I don't know. I don't know.
For not criticizing Teddy. Is what the,
Teddy was terrible yesterday. Is that good?
We said that
I'm doing
like
my
4
job?
times already today.
Omaha says, watching this team every single Sunday is like a real-life version of the scene from Groundhog Day where the alarm clock rings and "I got you, babe" wakes up Phil Connors. Their ability to be so consistently below average is astonishing. Burn the whole thing down to the ground. It's time. I'm keeping 4 players: Javonte, Jerry, Cortland, and PS2. Everyone else is on the table. And Ryan, this brings me to a conversation that we'll have probably
Soon.
in a week from now. Yeah, or maybe later this week, but of who's on the lifeboat, who's on the trade block, who are you selling, who's someone that's going to have to, a team's going to have to give too much to get. Unfortunately, we're getting to that time. I wish we weren't. At 3-0, I didn't think we were.
Bad time to be a seller when all of the players' stocks are down.
That's really true. Yeah, seriously.
The only, and we forgot to kind of pay it off yesterday. I wanted to do, is there anyone whose stock is up? Javonte Williams.
It is.
His
Yep.
stock is up.
Yep. His stock is up.
Patrick Surtain.
Yep.
His stock is up.
The only guy in the past 2 weeks in the secondary to not be beat deep. It's your rookie.
And he had a sweet pass breakup yesterday. I think it didn't end up mattering because there was a hold on the play.
Right. He had a sweet tackle, too. He got in there.
Yep. He's good.
He is.
Bronco and SF, today I accepted that until there's a solid owner in place, there are just some foundational issues with this team that won't be fixed. Hopefully Peyton gets us on a good path in the meantime. Until then, it's 6 more weeks of winter. Another Groundhog Day reference.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a lot of those recently. I feel like that's a big Mace reference.
It is.
To go the Groundhog.
Mace loves him some Groundhog Day.
Next one from Fangio Schmangio. Let's be real. The Denver Broncos are the new Chargers. Oh, no. Seemingly, they have all the pieces in place, but find a way to make too many boneheaded decisions and implode to lose the game they should win.
There's only one piece that matters.
Quarterback.
Yes.
He says the Chargers are the new Broncos. New stadium, a forward-thinking head coach, and most importantly, a young franchise quarterback lighting it up every Sunday.
Except yesterday.
That's true. Oh, yeah. Boy, was he bad. We're the Chargers bad. Whew. We are the NFL's new whipping boys and have been for years but didn't know it. How embarrassing. The joke is on us.
Just get a quarterback and everything will be fixed, but that's a lot easier said than done.
But here's the thing about the quarterbacks is you have to invest and you have to try. I mean, at least John said he wasn't done swinging and missing. He lied to us about that. He definitely was done swinging and missing because he didn't swing after making that comment.
Kind of swung on Drew Lock, but it was like a
second
check
round
swing.
pick. Right. And
the umpire rung him up.
yeah, it was a tip third strike foul ball.
Yeah.
That's tough. But yeah, the thing with quarterback is you got to try, and I hope George Payton's willing to try.
I think he is. Teddy's Tutties. All right, it's vent time, I guess. Losing to the Raiders is bad, but losing to a guy head coaching his first NFL game ever is embarrassingly unacceptable. Vic bemoaned Harbaugh and touted his 35 years of professional football, yet he's outcoached, outschemed, outplanned consistently. It's horrendous. I believed in Fangio at the start of the season. I wanted him to succeed. Seems like a nice guy, but I'm at the end of my rope. Burn it down, turn the page, and start over, I say. Albright tweeted about how he's hearing that the staff is losing the team anyway, so what is there to lose? My question to you 3 beacons of hope, positivity, and sanity is in an otherwise bleak and bummed out Broncos country is this. Why not fire Vic, Shermer, and McMahon now, or Friday if the Browns game is that much of a deciding factor, and replace them with Munchak, Shula, and literally any other human with a pulse to coach special teams respectively? Do you think Peyton honestly hasn't seen all he needs to see from this coaching staff at this point? As Mace once said, it's just another log on the fire of misery.
Oh, man. I mean, it's a good question, and that would be something that the fans would do. But Ryan, if you have a business and you fire everyone on the executive board at once, that's probably going to be pretty tough to continue and having success. So if Peyton did that, that would be sending a message at a pretty steep price. And I know what you're saying, that you think any other coach can come in and do just as good of a job as Vic Fangio, as Pat Shurmur, as Tom McMahon, because it has been tough. But man, just from a business standpoint, if you do that, you are just setting everyone up for failure.
Well, right. But the biggest thing, though, Zach, is not only does everyone that has to take their job still have to do those really hard jobs, they still have to do their own jobs.
Right. Because there's no good coaches just hanging out there right now.
Right. So it's now you're just doubling up everyone's responsibilities, and everything just gets even harder.
So from a football perspective, I definitely see your frustration, but just from a realistic perspective, you can't.
And you can't do it for 11 weeks, that's for sure.
Right, exactly.
You can do it for 4 or 5.
Yep. Dan Burke says, hey guys, people rightfully criticize the coaching, but why does Mike Munchak always get out unscathed?
I got in right before the buzzer there, and he didn't go unscathed for me.
He said, I know the performance of the offensive line isn't implicitly on him when Teddy holds the ball longer than we'd like, and there's some schematic things that Shurmur isn't doing to help, but I never saw any criticism towards Munchak. His crowning achievement here was the development of Bowles, but he's regressed this year, and we can't really point to another player that has developed well since he took the job.
It hasn't been what we thought it would be, which was you bring in Mike Munchak and you end up with a great offensive line.
It would be his track record of what he did with Bowles last year, and I know he's regressed this year, and what he did in Pittsburgh. I still have confidence that Mike Munchak is a good coach, but is he the best offensive line coach in the league right now? No, you can't say that. You can't look around and say that. So maybe I'm saying he's the best coach on this team, but maybe the bar's pretty low for that, unfortunately.
Yep. Kirk Smith, 44. This team is done. The coaching staff needs to go now, immediately. Fangio might try to call a timeout during his conversation with Peyton or throw a challenge flag in Peyton's office when it happens because he clearly doesn't understand when to use them, but the change needs to happen now. Now for the players who are not without blame, Teddy is who we thought he was. The offensive line has reverted back to a joke, and that secondary is the most overpaid in the league. How do you pay this much for this result on the back end? Start Stearns over Simmons. Bleacher Report might have known something. SMH.
Yeah, honestly, Bleacher Report should have came out with that article now, and I think a lot of people still would have laughed at it, but it wouldn't have been as big of a joke. Justin Simmons just missing it there. Every single one of your cornerbacks is getting beat outside of Pat Surtain. The secondary is certainly the most overpaid in the league right now as it stands. They're the highest paid, and they're performing just terribly. Ryan, yesterday I went back and looked. On 7 passes, Derek Carr had 257 yards. 7 passes, 257.
Wow, that's like how in Madden when I threw for 7 touchdowns on 20 attempts on you.
It's really true. I mean, which is worse?
Oh, God. You know what the worst part is that the other team doesn't respect them anymore.
Right.
If
And
Derek Carr
like
respected
you said,
Justin Simmons, he never would have thrown that pass to Henry Ruggs on the first drive.
Yeah, it's a really good point, and it's a bummer. The Big T says, I smell a rat. Could Vic be instructed to destroy this franchise to make it cheaper for someone to buy the team on the cheap? Does win-loss affect price?
Win-loss doesn't directly affect price, but fan interest does. And so if they start having empty stadiums,
right.
Which, by the way, the sellout streak will never end, but when the team is bad, people stop going. I mean, they said there was only 1,000 no-shows yesterday. No chance.
Stadium was cleared out by the end.
But
too.
also at the beginning, I was looking in the upper I actually have a picture I can show you of after the game had started. I took a picture of where I was, and you could see even in the Bronco, which is the easiest to see, there's a ton of empty seats.
Yep, yeah. And that was the most sold out game, or the most attended game so far this season, Ryan.
Really?
Yep.
More than the Ravens.
Yep.
That's surprising.
Yeah, I think there were like 2,000 in that game, and there were 5,000 opening week.
Yeah, it's all downhill from here.
I was going to say, expect those numbers to go drastically up in the coming weeks. And he goes on and says, I'm clutching at straws, I know, but surely a defensive guru and someone who has been in the NFL this long cannot be this bad. Surely?
Evidence says he can. I don't think he's a plant. The only person who was a plant was Josh McDaniels. I'll listen to that conspiracy theory.
And Bill Belichick did a great job of planting it.
Yeah, he did. Bronco Joe, my guys, long time since I commented, but man, I'm absolutely fed up. You guys mentioned it yesterday, but those challenges were brutal and really the nail in the coffin to any speck of confidence I still had in Vic. Tom McMahon, our coach of the game with that onside recovery. Sheesh. I saw that Vance Joseph is 1-0 when covering his head coach this year. Maybe we need to take a look at him this offseason at LOL. Thanks for the great coverage and finding a way to make us smile even when the train is running off the tracks. If we can do that, that makes me happy.
You guys make me smile, Ryan. You make me smile. And we've said it, and we were starting to experience it this year. What's it going to be like covering a good team? It's going to be an absolute blast because we already have fun. And it was really fun the first 3 weeks. It's still been fun these last couple weeks.
Yep.
Orange Blue for Life says, great bar, great food, great tailgate. You guys killed it. I had a blast. As far as the team goes, that was a tough game to watch. The offense sucks, is boring, and at times looks disinterested during the game. And what is the point of keeping Vic? His defense sucks.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the tailgate and the bar and all that because that was definitely the best part of yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully it is as the season goes on. I think we can deliver. You know, you can count on us to make sure those things stay consistent despite the performance of the team.
Exactly. You can.
And speaking of the tailgate, I want to give a shout out to Sexy Pizza, who delivered and delivers every week for the tailgate. And man, I think I had 5 slices yesterday. Like I went in hungry and just started pounding them.
Yep.
It is so good. And then they also bring those little cinnamon twists with the side of frosting that you can get.
So good.
It is so incredible. So make sure you check out our friends over at Sexy Pizza. They've got several locations around the area. A bunch of different options. You can get in on their philanthropies, which every time you buy one of those, they donate to a Colorado charity. So it's an incredible spot with some incredible pizza. Check out Sexy Pizza.
And if you want to be sexy, make sure to check out our friends over at Green Mountain Dental to get those teeth taken care of. Not only are they part of our family, and they have been for a long time, but we're part of their family. So many of us go to Green Mountain Dental, get our teeth cleaned, and we trust them with our teeth. And they treat you like family by not only great care, but Ryan, if you go there and schedule a cleaning, x-ray, and exam, they'll hand over a free Sonicare toothbrush. You're going to the dentist anyways. Might as well go to someone that will treat you well, that will give you a gift, and that also you can talk Colorado sports with, or more importantly, they can talk Colorado sports to you because it'd probably be pretty tough to talk when you're sitting in that chair.
That's true.
So schedule them, give them a call over at Green Mountain Dental, schedule a cleaning, x-ray, exam, and get that free Sonicare toothbrush.
I felt like I was stuck in a dental chair with people talking all around me at the game yesterday. There's no cesspool of worse takes than like in the stands at an NFL game.
Oh yeah. So now, were you around Raiders fans or was it just Broncos?
There were some Raiders fans around.
They being okay?
Oh, I want to get to something after this. Real quick, shout out to Hassel Cattle Company. You mentioned being sexy. I mean, having some Wagyu beef, it might help. You know, you gotta head up our friends over at Hassel Cattle Company and get some of their beef. I'm actually cooking up some ground beef lettuce wraps tonight with that Hassel Cattle Company beef. It's so flavorful. Like, you know, obviously you gotta season the meat, but the flavors that come out of Hassel Cattle Company beef is like nothing I've ever had before.
Yep.
So make sure you hit them up. Use that code DNVR10 to get 10% off. And of course, if you go over $200, you can get free shipping. You're gonna want $200 worth, and $200 will get you a lot because it's affordable stuff. So hit up our friends over at Hassel Cattle Company, HasselCattleCompany.com, HASSELL CattleCompany.com. All right, Zach.
Raider fan story?
Nope. I want your take on something.
Oh.
So this is something I've seen over the years, and I think it's a really interesting conversation. 2 Broncos fans got into a little shouting match in our section yesterday. One of them was upset about vulgarity from another one around the kids in the section. Your take on being mad at other people for curse words in the stadium when kids are around?
Man, you're in a stadium, and it's going to be tough. I mean, now what are we talking? Just cuss words?
Yeah, mostly.
Yeah, if we're going like crazy with, you know, getting detailed and really bad.
Allie, did you feel like there was a line crossed?
There were some things that he was saying that him and his wife or fiance or girlfriend or whatever was saying that I was just like, okay. And he didn't react until the dude said "F you" like 1,000 times to. He was pointing at every Raiders fan he saw, saying "F you, F you," and that's when he like
I
stood
think
up.
he
But
crossed the line.
the guy also stood up and was like, instead of being like, "Hey man, my kid's here. Like, can we
See,
just
he
watch
handled
it
it
a
poorly
little?"
for sure,
He
yeah.
started acting like Mr. Tough Guy, like, and his
yeah.
wife was like, or the woman who was also cursing a lot was like, "What are you gonna do?" So then he like
my
started kind of acting like he was gonna get in her face. That's a worse example
So,
for
yes.
your son
Seriously,
than
yes.
hearing some bad words around in the stadium. But again,
Right.
he definitely was the guy who was cursing was getting obnoxious.
Ali always brings the details. My thought on it. Well, I want your thought.
It seems like he crossed the line.
But I just think, okay, a couple thoughts here. One, I think you just have to know that's going to happen. You're going to a Broncos Raiders game.
Yeah, it's exactly
Yeah.
my
And
was
so
my first
you're
thought.
kind of signing up for it.
Yeah.
You'd have to change the world entirely to get people to stop cursing at NFL games.
Yeah.
But the other thing I was going to say is if you do have an issue with it, which I think you have the right to, handle it in a way of just like, hey, would you guys mind? Like,
Right.
I've got my kid here.
Right.
And everyone instantly, when that happens to you,
Yep.
you feel like an ass
Yep.
and you shut
Yep.
your mouth real quick.
Yep.
But he was like he was going to fight over it. And it was
Oh
like,
my
I was thinking the
God.
same
he
thing. I'm
literally
like,
stood up and was like, "Oh, you're gonna get like I'm gonna get in your face," and it was
Yeah.
like,
Oh my
dude, you trying to
gosh.
pick a fight is worse for your son.
How far away were they each other physically?
2 rows.
2 rows.
Thankfully.
Pretty close. Pretty close though. Did you think you were gonna have to jump in?
I would have never.
Yeah, no,
would've-
that's the worst thing to do.
I would have pulled out my phone.
Gone viral.
I would have made sure the kid was okay. What was
Yeah.
happening?
Well, yeah, but the
Yeah.
kid, yeah, I mean, obviously.
Yeah,
We were far enough away where it was like there would have been other people
right.
closer.
closer to like break it up or whatever.
But
Man,
there were a lot of families with kids there, and no
Yep.
one said anything. Like the context too, a Broncos Raiders game, like.
Right.
There's going to be cursing. You're going to an NFL game specifically.
Yeah.
I think the dude got fed up after a lot of it. Like in one minute, he just kept saying "F you, F you, F you." But
That's not a way to handle things.
yeah. So I think like it was a little much. That's when he turned around. But still, like it's an NFL game.
Maybe my take will change on this when I have kids of my own. I don't understand why hearing bad words is that big of a deal.
Oh, you want to drop a few for our
no,
listeners?
no. I think it's very important to know context of those words. I've seen a lot of people saying like, if your kids know to not say that specifically to someone or things like that, like that's very important because they're gonna hear those words, especially with YouTube and everything right now. Like, there's a lot of knowledge going around. But
Or actually,
Fair enough.
you will hear those words if you listen to last week's YouTube edition of the show. There was one
Oh, yeah,
dropped in
Ryan.
the intro. It was great.
Yes, that was accidental. I'm sorry if
it
any
was
kids
too
heard
good
that.
though.
All right, from Orange and Blue. Nope, sorry, we got that one. From Ohio Bronco Alex. Why are we starting a quarterback that can't score 30 points in a game? I'm fed up. Who cares if Teddy says all the right things at the podium? Who cares if he can complete 70% of his passes? Who gives a damn if he turns the ball over less and is safe? None of this matters if he doesn't take shots down the field and has zero chance of putting 30 points on the board. We need to turn to Drew. I told you guys Teddy is another Flacco Keenum. Honestly, RK and Ben Albright are the only ones that generally thought Drew should be the starter this year. You should know how to make our defense play to its caliber. Score points. Drew can score a TD in 2 minutes or less. It damn near takes Teddy 5 minutes plus to score. Zero strike factor. Coach Fangio, you better start Drew now. You've got nothing to lose.
Yeah, honestly, I love the long drives that Teddy has. It's just the inability to do them time and time again. And we certainly, I think people are just forgetting what Drew was last year. I mean, he was one of the worst quarterbacks in the league in nearly every statistical category. He did put up more 30-point games than we had seen in the past 3 years, but he also had duds left and right. I just feel like people are getting a little too they're viewing Drew as this savior.
It's just hope. People want hope.
Right.
And so I understand that because Drew does give you hope that he could miraculously have, a Josh Allen turnaround. I saw Josh Allen's names brought up in the comments, and it's possible. It's just very rare. So I understand people just wanting something to hope, because at this point, probably the hope of Teddy having a career, turnaround season where he leads the team to the promised land has probably evaporated. When they were 3-0, I think people started to buy into that a little bit, and now that's gone. So fans want something new to have hope. And I think this is actually a really good comment from Dylan, who says Drew brings the energy. if there's one thing that you could definitely say he would bring to this team, it's a little more energy. And it's one of the reasons why I was so high on Drew.
Yeah.
I was so high on Drew because I loved that he had that hype factor. He can get the guys hyped up. He can, lead from a vocal type of standpoint like that. And the guys really liked him. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out. And I think the chances of it actually working out are still very low. But I understand why fans just want something to be hopeful about.
Sure, I do too. But Ryan, maybe tell me if I'm wrong, but my hope for Drew died when he lost the quarterback competition, because that said, at least in Denver, he's done. And that goes up to George Payton. So I think that's something that can follow into next year. And I just don't expect Drew to be the guy. I said that I hope that was the case this whole time, that he would be the guy, but it just doesn't seem like he is. And then it reminds me of when he was in the game 2 weeks ago. That energy was like he had last year, was just nowhere to be found.
Yeah, and I think it's unfair to put too much on that game. It was unexpected. It was a bad situation where the offensive line couldn't block anyone.
As a backup, that's when you have to show, though. That's when you have to bring all that.
I think the opportunity to show was very slim in that.
Yeah,
because the defense was teeing off, and by the way, they just kept passing it.
They did.
All right, I think this is going to be the last one we have time for today. It's from Lucifer's Army, who says, you guys speak a lot about how a game feels versus what the overall score looks like occasionally. And I just want to say that watching Javonte Williams, whenever he has the ball, it just feels good. Even if he doesn't get much of a gain, I don't remember at what point during the game it was, but he bounced outside and there was a defender right there. And I felt 100% confident that he was shedding that tackle and ended up making a big gain out of it. Also, what do we think Justin Simmons said to the coaches after the game? First of all, it's address of Javonte. I completely agree. He just he has a little it to him where you feel like, oh, this guy is going to be really good.
Yeah, he absolutely does. In every single game, Ryan, he brings that energy, right? And then he also brings the big play. He's hurdling over guys. He's carrying guys, and he does it so many different ways. The one where he's carrying guys, it's through the middle, reading the hole right, and then carrying guys. Yesterday, it was seeing that there was no hole there, bouncing it to the opposite side, exploding, then literally exploding over a guy, and you just love to see it. And here's the reason why, though, Ryan, the Broncos are still using him and Melvin 50-50, is because Javonte brings that explosion. He brings the one big play every game, but then when you take that out, he's still working his way in the NFL. Yesterday, he averaged 10 carries that he had outside of that one run for 30 yards. He averaged 2.3 yards per carry. But you still want him to get touches because he's going to figure it out and be the complete package. But if you do that throughout an entire game, then your running game's not looking good. So actually, now, after thinking about it for 24 hours, the king of the game to me should have been Javonte and Melvin. About the only two bright spots with really no negatives to them, because Melvin brings the consistency. Yesterday, he averaged 5 yards per carry on 10 attempts. Javonte brings the big threat every time he's on the field. It looks good every single time, and then he brings the explosion.
Yeah. I look at Javonte as a slot machine, right? You got to feed the slot machine, and eventually it'll pay.
Yeah. And every game.
And that's every game it has paid off, which is even better than a slot machine.
It certainly is. And Ryan, we'll just get to one more because it is short and sweet, and it is coming in from Super Bowl, and he says, I just want an owner.
Yeah, I think, that's something that thankfully we can look forward to happening.
Yeah.
And, maybe that'll bring some smiles to the faces of Broncos country when that happens. And when that happens, you want your smile to be nice and pearly and white. So check out our friends over at Green Mountain Dental Group, the best damn family-owned dentist group in the metro area, just outside of downtown Denver over there in Lakewood. Like Zach mentioned earlier, they'll treat you like family. They're part of our family, and they'll welcome you into their family. And they are family, literally family-owned dentistry. So if you need any work done, hit up our friends over at Green Mountain Dental Group. That's going to wrap it up for us today, and we will talk to you guys tomorrow on the DNVR Broncos podcast.